Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, accompanied by the President of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan.
Good morning, everybody. Please be seated. I am very pleased to welcome President Karzai back to the White House, and I also want to welcome the President's delegation, including ministers from across his government, whose presence speaks to the broad and deepening strategic partnership between the United States and Afghanistan. This visit is an opportunity to return the hospitality that President Karzai showed me during my recent visit to Afghanistan. That included a wonderful Afghan dinner that the President shared with us, and where we were joined by members of his delegation. So, Mr. President, thank you and welcome to the United States. More importantly, this visit's an opportunity for us to assess the progress of our shared strategy in Afghanistan and to advance the strong partnership between our two nations, one that's based on mutual interest and mutual respect. I have reaffirmed the commitment of the United States to an Afghanistan that is stable, strong, and prosperous. Afghans are a proud people who have suffered and sacrificed greatly because of their determination to shape their own destiny. There is no denying the progress that the Afghan people have made in recent years in education, in health care, and economic development, as I saw in the lights across Kabul when I landed, lights that would not have been visible just a few years earlier. Nor, however, can we deny the various serious challenges still facing Afghanistan. After 30 years of war, Afghanistan still faces daily challenges in delivering basic services and security to its people while confronting a brutal insurgency. Whether Afghanistan succeeds in this effort will have consequences for the United States and consequences for the entire world. As we've seen in recent plots here in the United States, al-Qaeda and its extremist allies continue to plot in the border regions between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and a growing Taliban insurgency could mean an even larger safe haven for al-Qaeda and its affiliates. So today we are reaffirming our shared goal to disrupt, dismantle, and defeat al-Qaeda and its extremist allies in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and to prevent its capacity to threaten America and our allies in the future. And we are reviewing the progress of our shared strategy and objectives. A military effort to reverse the Taliban's momentum and to strengthen Afghanistan's capacity to provide for their own security. A civilian effort to promote good governance and development. And regional cooperation, including with Pakistan, because our strategy has to succeed on both sides of the border. Now, just over half of the additional military forces that I ordered to Afghanistan in December have now arrived, with the remainder due by this summer. As part of our 46-nation coalition, allies and partners have increased their commitments as well. We're partnering with Afghan and coalition forces, and we've begun to reverse the momentum of the insurgency. We have taken the fight to the Taliban in Helmand province, pushed them out of their stronghold in Marja, and are working to give Afghans the opportunity to reclaim their communities. We've taken extraordinary measures to avoid civilian casualties, and I reiterated in my meeting with President Karzai that the United States will continue to work with our Afghan and international partners to do everything in our power to avoid actions that harm the Afghan people. After all, it's the Afghan people we are working to protect from the Taliban, which is responsible for the vast majority of innocent civilian deaths. Meanwhile, the training and development of Afghan security forces continues so that they can begin to take the lead in security next year. Towards this end, we're working with the Afghan government and our allies on a broader framework to guide the transition of responsibility for security, development, and governance in Afghan provinces. I've also reaffirmed that the United States is committed to transferring responsibility for detention facilities to the Afghan government. To support the second part of our strategy, the civilian effort, more American diplomats and experts are now on the ground and are partnering with their Afghan counterparts. In his inaugural address and at the London conference, President Karzai committed to making good governance a top priority. And I want to acknowledge the progress that has been made, including strengthening anti-corruption efforts, improving governance at provincial and district levels, and progress towards credible parliamentary elections later this year. Of course, President Karzai and I both acknowledge that much more work needs to be done. I also welcome President Karzai's commitment to take additional steps that can improve the lives of the Afghan people in concrete ways, especially with regard to the rule of law, agricultural production, economic growth, and the delivery of basic services. I pledged America's continued support for these efforts, and I've asked Secretary Clinton to lead an American delegation to this summer's Kabul conference, where the Afghan government will be presenting concrete plans to implement the President's commitments. On the related subject of Afghan-led peace and reconciliation efforts, I appreciated the President sharing his plans for the upcoming consultative peace jirga, an important milestone that America supports. In addition, the United States supports the efforts of the Afghan government to open the door to Taliban who cut their ties to al-Qaeda, abandon violence, and accept the Afghan Constitution, including respect for human rights. And I look forward to a continued dialogue with our Afghan partners on these efforts. In support of the final part of our strategy, a regional approach, we discussed the importance of Afghanistan's neighbors supporting Afghan sovereignty and security. I was pleased to host President Karzai and President Zardari of Pakistan together here at the White House a year ago, and our trilateral cooperation will continue. Indeed, Pakistan's major offensive against extremist sanctuaries and our blows against the leadership of al-Qaeda and its affiliates advance the security of Pakistanis, Afghans, and Americans alike. Finally, as we pursue our shared strategy to defeat al-Qaeda, I'm pleased that our two countries are working to broaden our strategic partnership over the long term. Even as we begin to transition security responsibility to Afghans over the next year, we will sustain a robust commitment in Afghanistan going forward. And the presence here today of so many leaders from both our governments underscores how we can partner across a full range of areas, including development and agriculture, education and health, rule of law, and women's rights. Together we can unleash Afghanistan's vast potential. For example, I was pleased to welcome several remarkable Afghan women to our recent entrepreneurship summit here in Washington, and I look forward to formalizing a new strategic partnership between our countries later this year and to deepening the lasting friendship between our people. As I've said on numerous occasions, there are many difficult days ahead in Afghanistan. We face a determined and ruthless enemy, but we go forward with confidence because we have something that our adversaries do not. We have a commitment to seek a future of justice and peace and opportunity for the Afghan people. And we have the courage and resolve of men and women from Afghanistan and our international coalition who are determined to help Afghans realize that future. And as I did at Bagram during my visit, I especially want to acknowledge the extraordinary sacrifices that are being made by American troops and civilians in Afghanistan every single day. Our solidarity today sends an unmistakable message to those who would stand in the way of Afghanistan's progress. They may threaten and murder innocent people, but we will work to protect the Afghan people. They will try to destroy, but we will continue to help build Afghan capacity and allow Afghans to take responsibility for their country. They will try to drive us apart, but we will partner with the Afghan people for the long term toward a future of greater security, prosperity, justice, and progress. And I'm absolutely convinced we will succeed. That is the work that we have advanced today, and I again want to thank our partners, President Karzai and his delegation, for the progress we have made and can continue to make in the months and years ahead. President Karzai.
Thank you very much.